great to get back inside of Neyland, scrimmage again. All in all, I thought the scrimmage went really well, offense, defense. Got a lot of good work on special teams too, trying to continue to find the right guys on those units. Got a chance to work some situational football, work some crowd noise as well, like it was a road game. So thought the day went really well.
Coach, walking off the field, what did you maybe like the most from the scrimmage, and maybe what did you like the least?
I thought, just from operations side of it, and I'm just talking sideline communication. Again, we, tried to take TV timeouts, be intentional, working iPad usage. Finished it with a mock halftime for the coaches and players. Just organizationally, I thought it was really clean. We played clean football, had a crew out at the scrimmage, and didn't have really many penalties at all during the course of it. So really liked that. And then both sides of the football, guys made some plays.
Coach, how challenging is the balance of we need to go play scrimmage versus we need to go play game, we don't need to beat up on each other anymore? How do you balance that this time of year, and how did you do that today with the scrimmage setting?
Yeah, end of the day, I think as a coaching staff, you're always trying to balance that in your rep count, your loads that your players are under from day to day. You need the physical work, and I'm talking about the physicality portion of it. At the same time, we understand what's coming down the pipe here and getting ready to play. So you're always trying to balance that in what you're doing.
Austin and Casey. You get Andre and a couple of those guys that did really nice. How big was that? Just kind of get them some work. And then what kind of growth have you seen out of a guy like Dante?
Yeah, Dante's doing a really nice job here during the training camp, taking more of a load here over the last few days. Really like what we've seen from him, his comfort inside of what we're doing offensively. You mentioned a couple of the offensive linemen. Thought they did a really nice job today. Obviously want to go back in and watch the film. But again, as you're building towards kickoff, all the guys that are going to be playing, you want to continue to sharpen those guys up, and those two guys have continued to get better.
When you get into a scrimmage setting, what do you feel you're really able to learn out of Nico that fall camp doesn't really give you the opportunity to when you're in that typical practice, and how valuable is that?
Well, for all of your quarterbacks, the green dot communication is different. Situational football, being able to reset and play the play. We try to simulate a lot of those situations during the course of practice, but there's nothing like a scrimmage to get you as close as you can be to what game day is going to be like. So in general, I thought the quarterbacks handled themselves really well here, and just again, situational football, being backed up, coming off the goal line, your thought processes, all of those things.
You mentioned special teams. Where are you in some of those decisions you'll have to make? Obviously, there's coverage and all that, but in deciding on a kicker, return game, those kind of things.
Yeah, have great competition at those positions. That's kickoff guy, punter, your point scorer, your snappers. We've been charting everything. They're still in a real competition here as we get to the end of training camp. Some of those decisions will be made.
It felt like you were pleased with the way the secondary was kind of coming together after that first scrimmage. I know there's been some practices since then, but out there today, how's that group continuing to evolve, and any of those young guys maybe creating separation when looking at some position battles?
Yeah, I've said it from the beginning of the offseason to our coaches and our players. It can't just be one guy at one position. We're going to have to play multiple guys. It's just the nature of being in this league and the game that we play. I really do like the length, athleticism. I feel like, this last block since our last scrimmage, they've continued to be better just in their fundamentals, technique, assignment, discipline within the structure of the defense. We got to continue to get better. Good teams do. That's during the course of the season. It's here as we're finishing up training camp, but really like what we've seen from that group.
Josh, what did you see from Deshaun Bishop from scrimmage 1 to scrimmage 2, and how did you just see him improve and grow in that area?
Yeah, I don't know that there's anything glaring that was different about Deshaun from scrimmage 1 to 2. I think he's got great command, comfort in what we're doing. He continues to get better in playing without the ball. You know, his pass protection, we're really confident in him in that. So he's just continuing to take steps every day to continue to get better.
Can you give us just some, like, the individual names of offensive skill positions that you like today?
Individual skill guys that I liked from today. Okay, Deshaun Bishop, Peyton Lewis did a really nice job at the running back spot. Wide receivers, Dante Thornton played extremely well. Squirrel White played well. I thought our tight end group as a whole, all three of them played extremely well today. Thanks for that direct question.
Coach, when you look at all the experience coming back on the defensive front, you would think maybe you're setting the tone in practice. Is that the case? I mean, sometimes, do you have to kind of grade your offensive line on a curve?
There's no grading on a curve in this game. I wish that were true about Saturdays. You better line up and be able to defeat the guy in front of you. And that may not happen every snap, but it's got to happen more times than not. So our D-line's deep. They're athletic. They play extremely hard. They're playing really good fundamentally, just pad level, using their hands. That's in pass rush, but it's also in the run game, snagging off and making plays. So, you know, for our offensive line, you know, we got to continue to come together. That's always the case this time of year, but really confident and really like what we have on the offensive line.
Knowing it's a process, how has Boo Carter gotten better over the course of camp, and how did he perform this morning?
Yeah, playmaker that's extremely physical, plays extremely hard. I think the biggest area of growth for Boo has just been continued growth in playing within the scope and scheme of the defense, alignment, assignment, and his physical traits will take over from there.
Do you think your tight end room will be by committee, or is there one of those guys in that room is kind of emerging themselves to maybe be that number one guy for you?
I think, you know, we're going to have to play multiple guys at that position. You know, all three of those guys are going to play a lot of snaps for us. As we began, you know, our tenure here, right, we've had to navigate some things, and that room's probably been thinner at times than you would want it to be. But I really like the three guys that we got in there. All those guys are capable of playing at a championship level.
Josh, with you all being careful and not trying to push guys too much and treating it more like an NFL preseason, do you sense urgency from guys maybe if they sat out the day before, they're itching to get back because they know if they don't get back then somebody may pass them up because of the competition and depth y'all have? Yeah,
I think the depth and competition is the coach's greatest friend inside of a position room. And, you know, for us, like, you have to physically get prepared. You know what I mean? Your conditioning level, the physicality of the game, you got to hit those benchmarks to be ready to go play for 60 minutes when we open up here in a couple of weeks. At the same time, you're trying to make sure that you get your guys to the starting gate too.
Through these first couple of scrimmages, what's Nico's command of the offense like, specifically when it comes to the tempo of the offense that you want to run?
Nico's got really good command of what we're doing offensively. We've seen that, you know, throughout this offseason, but really in his development from last fall too. He's got great comfort. There's a lot that goes into our quarterback play, from protection. Could be, you know, changing the protection. You know, in our run game, there's a lot of things that go into it. That's the RPO tags, it's loaded box, it's all those things. So he's got great command of what we're doing. At the same time, everybody inside of our program's got to continue to grow to get better. And I'm not just talking about Nico, I'm talking about everybody, right? It's a journey. Good teams get better throughout the year. We got to continue. You know, we got 3 practices left in what I would call our true training camp. We got to continue to get better.
I know you guys always work various game situations with your team. Have you ever had a preseason camp where you've had to work this many situations for your staff because of the changes that are going on with helmets and iPads? I mean, you've talked about you had a mock halftime, TV timeout, stuff you typically probably don't do in scrimmages. And how challenging has that been? Has it been maddening? Has it been, hey, this is just part of what we got to do now because it's all changing?
It's a part of what you got to do. I think logistically, there's more changes that affected, you know, everything outside of the white lines this year. You know, communication with your players, which is obviously on the field of play too, but the coordination of that, the iPads. You know, there's been a lot of logistical changes that everybody inside of your program's got to be ready to handle the right way.
You've got a lot of young, talented players that you've recruited that may or may not be game ready. How do you distinguish between a guy that's super talented today and a guy who's ready for Saturdays?
You see it on the practice field. You see it during scrimmages. You know, it's the ability to operate, reset from play to play, play within the scope of what you're doing, and you know, offense, defense, special teams. So every rep matters.